unlike nature's energy forms, which remain constantly in balance. Energy generated by man has historically fallen prey to mismanagement and an ever-increasing drive for excess. Increased industrial activity has made our energy needs become more complex. Today, because of the disrupted crude oil supply, the availability of energy is in total disarray. Our need for energy has never been more evident than it is now. During a serious energy shortage, municipal, industrial, and commercial establishments are left highly vulnerable. Shutdowns can occur all too easily. Not having an alternate and dependable energy source at a critical time would be very costly. How much would your organization really stand to lose in an energy-induced shutdown for as little as 2 to 4 weeks? In addition to the need for an alternate and dependable energy source, another problem facing municipal, industrial, and commercial establishments is waste disposal. Americans generate 4 pounds of refuse per person per day. Industrial and commercial establishments also produce huge quantities of waste. Nearly all waste is disposed of in landfills, which are becoming increasingly expensive as their availability decreases. Landfilled waste is simply left to break down into its basic elements, and yet 75% of it is combustible. Thus, what is now a waste disposal problem can become a solution for an alternate and dependable energy source. Our solution, which answers both problems, waste and energy, is called the Palmer process. The Palmer process stands ready to solve both problems today. Our system eliminates the problem of waste disposal by converting combustible refuse into a new fuel source, Palmer fuel pellets. The conversion of municipal, industrial, or commercial waste to a solid fuel begins upon delivery to the plant. Refuse is stored in a weather-protected receiving pit. Depending on the application, various types of loaders are utilized to place the received material on the conveyor. Through a totally automated system, the material is then processed. The conveyor continues to transport the material to the primary shredder. Here, processing begins in a totally enclosed structure, eliminating dust, noise, and odor problems. The primary shredder grinds all of the refuse into 6-inch fragments. These fragments are passed over a magnetic drum where ferrous metals are removed for recycling. Recycling is an added benefit with the Palmer process. Many non-combustible materials are becoming increasingly valuable for recycling as secondary materials. The material that has been fragmented is now subjected to a series of air separators. During this process, the light combustible materials are sucked out. The heavier materials, stones, rocks, ceramics, and other non-combustibles, remain on the conveyor belt. The resulting lighter materials are extracted from the airstream in the cyclone. From the cyclone, these lighter materials are sent through the secondary shredder. In the shredder, the material is again reduced in size. It is then sent through the final air separator where remaining impurities are removed. The pelletizer is the last step of the process. It's a system where fine shredded material is compressed into dense form by extruding it through a die. An extremely high contact pressure between the inside rollers and rotating die accomplishes the compacting. The finished pellets are collected in shroud covering and discharged through the chute under the pelletizer. These fuel pellets can now simultaneously solve your waste disposal problems and serve you as an alternate and dependable energy source. The pellets are now ready for storage or ultimate place of usage. When the process is complete, only about 15% remains as inert waste, requiring landfill. Another 6.5% is composed of recyclable elements, which can be sold to offset expenses. More than 3/4 of the waste results in fuel pellets. The Palmer process is suited for processing either municipal, industrial, forest, coal, or other wastes. Any means of transportation is suitable for shipping the pellets. Any boiler capable of burning coal is also capable of burning pellets. In some cases, it may be desirable not to store pellets and coal together, but to reserve a separate bunker for each fuel. When utilized as a primary fuel, the pellets are drawn from the storage bunker to a weighing dolly. They are then distributed to the boiler fuel hopper. Pellets can equally well be used as a supplemental fuel and mixed with industrial coal. In view of the insignificant sulfur content of the pellets, they permit the burning of high sulfur coals in combination in order to meet strict emission standards. The average heat value of the pellets is 7,000 BTUs per pound. Even though Palmer fuel pellets are made from refuse, they burn cleanly, leaving a low ash content. Due to the thorough separation of slag-producing elements, there is also a low slag content. And with its very low sulfur content, the combustible products are non-air polluting. The resulting ashes are periodically raked to normally available ash removal systems. Those plants not equipped to burn solid fuel require the installation of a multi-fueled boiler. Cogeneration is a currently well-publicized energy approach which has in reality been utilized for many decades. Its use was merely forgotten when energy was cheap. Most steam users, manufacturing, processing, and chemical plants, along with hospitals, also need electricity. In cogeneration, the high-pressure steam is first passed through a turbine. About 30% of the steam energy is converted into electricity for eliminating electric demand load peaks and for reducing high electric unit costs. The remaining steam energy at low pressure is then utilized for other industrial needs. Processing, heating and air conditioning, and hot water. A complete utilization of all energy in steam is thus accomplished, and energy waste is kept to a minimum. The potential list of users of the Palmer process is endless. Hospitals, office buildings, power plants, cement plants, municipal buildings, state buildings, metal fabrication centers, chemical plants, and others. Lehigh Forming Company provides the complete turnkey services for construction of waste disposal facilities where raw waste is converted into usable fuel. The turnkey services begin with the design phase. The design must be co-related with the type of waste to be handled. This will then permit selection of all necessary components and the design of the entire plant. The design services are followed by fabrication of the components. Many components are purchased in completed form. All components are standard elements that will permit interchangeability. The final phase of the turnkey services is the construction of the plant. This includes the placing of all components and the construction of buildings. Lehigh Forming Incorporated has the experience required to precisely coordinate all facets. When construction is completed, all units must be tested and the operating personnel trained. The construction and operation of all disposal plants are subject to permit procedures by state and sometimes federal authorities. Lehigh Forming has been well received by the authorities who have granted us a number of permits. The Palmer process is cost-effective and beneficial to the environment. This releases conventional fuels for other uses. The energy value in one truck of refuse is equal to the energy required to run 300 cars for one day. The demands of society today continue to rise, placing a growing challenge before municipal, industrial, and commercial establishments. Therefore, if waste disposal is your problem, if you need an uninterrupted source of clean energy, then the Palmer process is your answer. It is both a breakthrough and a boon for business. The Palmer process can meet your challenges today.